I don't know. I didn't mean to highlight that. They found more of the tumor and went in and got it, and now he's like a 5-year-old. Basically, it's messed with his short-term memory. It's messed with his decision making. It's messed with just walking from place to place. So Glenn is
Has he given any updates on that?
No, I haven't heard anything. So Glenn's basically like an over-aged babysitter right now. So pretty tough. So yeah, it's pretty rough. I feel bad for him. I haven't been able to. I mean, I've called a couple of times. We've talked on the phone a few times, but really, it's just really, really hard to get a hold of him. So it would be awesome, but you know, he's in a lot of. He's kind of in. He's in a bad place, man.
Yeah, that's a shame, man. I'm sorry to hear it. I've been praying for him, but I don't know what else you can do. Man. You know?
Sorry, I was distracted. Yeah, it's a rough deal, man. It's really, really tough. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, EOD?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I think one of your mods was asking for my link. I put in the private.
Yeah, I think I got it taken care of, but we'll see. Somebody's asking for clarity or something. Let's see. If you were asking for something, ask again. I'm not scrolling all night. So EOD, man, I didn't know you modded for the great Rob Noor, dude.
Yeah, I do. I've been his mod for God, it's probably been 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
But I've been watching him for longer than that. And I came in his chat one day. 2 people were being complete fucking jackasses. I'm like, just give me that wrench, bro. He's like, all right, there you go. I took him out, and then Rob doesn't do a lot on the whole coordination thing. He doesn't have a lot of time to spend to prep and prepare for streaming. He just sort of just hits go live and does what he does, you know?
Sure.
So it's kind of a crapshoot as to whether or not I'm there or anybody else is there to sort of watch over the chat while he's doing that. But.
Yeah, Hornet, post something in the chat so that Spaceman can get your link. He'll spam your channel in the chat.
Yeah, there you go.
I put it in the private. Do you want me to just?
If you you can't post it in the, I can post it though, so I'll just post it. Oh, it's a YouTube link. Yeah, just
that's how you.
Yeah, just all you gotta do is post, say hi or whatever, and when he clicks your name, it'll go to your channel, and then he'll post it. One of the things that on my channel at least is anybody that comes up on panel that has a channel that wants it. Now they would, you can always refuse. But we'll spam your channel in the chat anytime you're on the panel.
Well, hey,
or if you just
I'm in the chat.
Go up in chat and say, "Hey, how you doing?" One of the mods will probably spam your channel.
For some reason, my camera doesn't seem to be cooperating with you. It seems okay on my end, but on your end, it's all frozen and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I was wondering about that.
I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Yeah, I typed in you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Do you want to go out and come back in?
Hold on. Does that work?
Sometimes.
No. I mean, what I'm doing now.
No, you're frozen.
Still frozen.
Everybody else moves, so I know that it's just him.
I'm moving.
Yeah, around. Wally's got it. All right. It's just you, bro.
Oh, fucking no, then. Oh, whatever.
Only cats? That actually sounds like something that is something else.
Giggity.
I'm literally shocked that Anson didn't say giggity. I'm literally shocked.
There probably is a cat fan site out there somewhere called Pussy Fans.
There probably is.
So, Grid, why aren't you spamming Wally's channel in the chat? I mean, that's got the.
Well, they can spam the channel. We're just not. I'm not going there.
Yeah, let me try that. Let me try to back out and come back in. I'm sorry.
And I just
I don't know what the hell's going on with my damn camera. It worked fine for me. It's because I have to go to work in the mornings. I can't stick around, but taking my ice skates with me to get them sharpened. Fucking A. Okay, that seems to be working.
Anson's just like poking the bear hardcore today. All right, wave.
Does it
All
work?
right, look, see, it works.
I don't know
It
what's
works
happening.
sometimes.
All right, well, whatever.
That's pretty funny. Helping Hound is helping.
I think he froze again.
Did I freeze? Yep, I did. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. It was working on Rob's channel earlier. That's freaking weird.
Yep. And we had Carney's Ride, member for 3 months. Awesome. Thank you very much. Showing some love, he says. Showing some love. That's right, guys. You can become a member. It's not much more than a price of a decent cup of coffee. And you support the channel. It's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fiscal whiskers. That's pretty funny.
So what have y'all been talking about tonight?
We've been talking about a lot of stuff, man. We've been talking about did Hornet drop?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he did. He was. I think he was tired of being called a fascist.
Good.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
is that
supposed to
what it
shame
was?
those kind of people.
He had
that's-
to stay true. He had to stay true to his name and start avoiding eventually.
Oh man. All right.
Some people can't accept what they are. It's fine.
I mean, I could make another Hornet joke.
Earlier, I have not actually seen them drop. Oh, it looks like he's back. There he is.
Yeah, sorry. I
He's
was,
having internet troubles tonight.
I was about to make another Hornet joke and ask if you decided to buzz off.
He's never heard that before. No, I haven't seen the JFK files, Mister. I need to take some time to do that.
Dude, there's an interesting theory that Jackie might have done it, dude. Or his wife.
Jackie might have been what?
That she might have killed him, because there's this part of the scene where he's getting shot, where JFK is getting shot, and she sort of grabs him, and it looks like she might have a pistol in her hand and blows his freaking face off in close range.
I mean, women.
Right. I don't know what his wife's name was. I can't remember, but
You know what's funny is EOD has his camera off on screen, but backstage, it's still his picture frozen in time.
See, now you're gonna now you know what you're gonna do with that.
It's broke. Now it's broke for me.
It's supposed to do that. It's supposed to be the camera's supposed to hide backstage too. It even says cameras off.
I have no idea, man.
Now you know what's going to happen. Now you know what's going to happen because you put that out there. Is you're going to have people saying, "Oh, well, now look at how Onassis sounds a lot like Assassin."
Man, that's gematria level, right?
Yes,
there.
and then you're going to have people putting Jackie's name into the gematria calculator.
For crying out loud.
I was joking about having Eternal on that one night. I was just kind of like, you could always come. I think somebody said something like I wouldn't have her on the channel, and I said no, she could come on. And then the very next stream, she's flashing her coochie.
Oh my god!
Camera. I swear to God, I swear, Wally, I have no idea.
You had underwear on.
Not violated TOS. I have no idea.
She was covered.
Yeah, obviously was covered.
We solved it yesterday. We had her put a Trump hat in her lap.
There you go. Grab him by the pussy.
Oh, great.
Okay. It seems to be working.
No, it's still frozen.
Yeah.
You look,
I don't fucking
you
get
look
it.
cool though.
It is a good look. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You look very like 70s DJ kind of bored as fuck guy.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so now we've got Cherry coming up onto the stage. Give a good round for Cherry.
Yes. And he did it so naturally. I know what you did in college for work.
That was too clean. Yeah, that was
I
too
know how you paid your bills.
Good job. Good job.
No, I've got a buddy who used to work at a strip club. That wasn't my gig, but shit.
It wasn't me. My body
I've
did
seen
it.
Wally's show for about 10 minutes twice. And literally, like, I popped in and I'm like, hey, Wally, what's up? And somebody said something about TOS, and I was like, what could possibly be TOS? And I literally look, and I'm like, Wally, dude, she's flashing everybody. We're watching
got a whole
TOS.
cooch out there. Yeah.
And then I left because I don't want to be there when that goes down.
I'll do a Halloween special, and in October, and I'll just have her dress up as Miss Elizabeth, and I'll do the whole show as Randy Savage.
There you go. I've been in a club. Yeah, I've been in clubs. I've actually. So one time when I
think you're
was
talking about me.
in college, I went to the Cheetah 3 Club in Atlanta. It was wild. Pretty crazy. I never saw I never got into strip clubs though. I think that's a waste of time and money.
Fair.
Definitely a waste of money.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and unless you're going to pay for the additional services, it's definitely a waste of time.
I went to the Brass Tables in Nashville one time with a friend of mine, and I honestly thought we were like, he's like, hey man, I was just going to get a beer, and I'm like, dude, come on. Nah, okay. I'm just going to go and take a beer. All right. Sat down. He gets his beer. Next thing I know, he's getting a fucking lap dance. He's there an hour. I'm like, dude, come on, man. I'm gonna go.
Of course.
Get the fuck out of here. So, because one thing I've noticed about strippers, like that is thinly veiled in other women, but is absolutely unveiled in strippers, is they know you have money in your wallet and they want it, and they are going to get it.
Mm-hmm. That's when they start doing all the flippy of the legs and the jiggling the boobies and everything else.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't get a motorboat out of it, it's not worth it, fellas. I'll tell you that.
I'll take your word. I don't gamble either. So, and I used to live in, I lived in Reno and Tahoe, and I don't gamble even once. Never gambled even once.
Yeah, I lived in Biloxi for a while. I did the same thing, though, and I never fucked with the gambling. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Waste of money.
Yeah.
House always wins, man.
Yeah. But now the rest of you degenerates, I'm assuming, have a long history of strip clubs and gambling casinos. In your
Gambling, yes. Strip clubs,
Yeah.
Wait, am I supposed to answer that?
No, we don't. You don't have to answer that, Anson. Actually, we know that you haven't been to a gambling establishment. You've been married at least twice, maybe 3 times. I've lost count, and you have a bunch of kids. So there's no way your wife was letting you go gamble.
Yeah, I'm not a gambler. Yeah, that's a waste of time. But I have enjoyed the strip club on occasion.
And I knew that because you've run for office.
Yeah. So. Yep.
So politician automatically means you've been to strip clubs.
Yeah, you got to meet the voters where they are, Grid.
This is probably going to surprise you, this is probably going to surprise people given my co-host, but I actually haven't been to a physical strip club since I was like 22.
Your co-host solves that problem for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If she is not a stripper, she portrays herself as a stripper. Therefore, I consider her a stripper. What's up, Clover Tack? Good to see it. You missed out last night, brother. You missed out.
Oh, he's the guy with the badass beard.
And Steve. What's that?
So he's the guy with the badass beard.
He does have a badass beard.
Oh, yeah.
Keita and Steve Anderson were on. It's awesome.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was good. It was really good.
Great. I heard you were mentioning the tactical games the other night. One of my coworkers is actually thinking of traveling up here for it, for the New Hampshire event they're having.
Cool. So we spent 3 hours talking last night. We only got about 3 or 4 of the points that we were supposed to cover in and I told them that this would happen. They're like, "Oh, we'll get it done in like 2 hours." I'm like, I don't think we will. Because you don't realize that one point will take you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You kind of hash out.
Just to say your side of it, not to mention the retort, right?
Yeah. And so it was great. It was a great show. I actually talked to Keita tonight. It was funny. So I'm not gonna. It was hilarious the reason she gave for not. I was like, "Hey, come on the show tonight." She's like, "Yeah, 2.5 hours in, I thought Steve was going to let up and I could finally talk." And I'm like, "Yeah, you can come on tonight." She's like, "No, I can't come on. Then I'm not going to come on." And I was like, "Well, your call. I don't care. You can come on if you want." But Steve did absolutely he manhandled that interview for sure. So
You can even call him mansplaining.
Yeah, you could call it mansplaining because that's what he was doing. So he was explaining, and he is a man. So, hey guys, make sure you spam Rob Knorr's channel as well, since he rated us. That was cool of him.
That was very cool.
Really cool.
But good thing that you taught him to set it up the way he did, because I don't think if he had to figure it out right at the end, he probably wouldn't have.
Right, yeah. Well, it was weird. When he said he couldn't do it, I was like, really? But I was there once too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I couldn't figure it out on my own channel until you fucking explained it, so I'm right there with you.
Rob, who?
She's being facetious.
I know. I've watched Emily's post.
Emily's in that channel all the time.
Yeah.
Rob Bohr. Is that who y'all talking about?
Rob Board.
Rob does seem bored lately. He needs a new Destiny to beat up on.
Yeah, he needs a new opponent, that's for sure. I was in there just hanging out with him earlier tonight, but I was trying to get Hutch to come back. Hutch didn't want to fucking respond to me. Pisco didn't want to fuck with it. So we tried.
Good old Pisco.
Yeah, I mean, you get your ass handed to you enough times and people just stop coming around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I don't understand
it's
how
interesting.
he can stand Pisco.
It's interesting with Rob. So Rob, I was driving back from New York after DebateCon, and I listened. Rob was on, and he was kind of going through kind of his story about how he had gotten gotten through high school and college debating, and some of the challenges he faced there, and then just listen to the whole thing, like his whole life story. And I was because I had a long time to drive, and he was on for a long time, and but it was great. It was actually really good to listen to. And when it was done, I was like, dude, I really like this guy. This guy is really cool. So, but I also understand now why people won't debate him, because he's actually really. I mean, I would debate him.
He has this whole fact sheet right at the back of his brain for whatever you want to bring up, and he just dives right into it. He's got 3 or 4 of them all planned out and all fleshed out. For years, he's been fleshing these arguments out, and people don't realize that when they get into the ring with him. They've been thinking about something for 2 hours, or for a couple of days maybe. Rod's been talking about fucking corruption in the government for 5-6 years now.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic for sure. And I would debate, like, if he had time. I know he doesn't, but if he had time, I would do a practice debate with him to warm up for Tyler.
Yeah,
for average debate enjoyer. Just because I actually respect that Tyler's put a lot of work into this, and he's been refined. And he's one of those guys that he is refining his arguments. He wants to debate against the best, so he can see where the weak spots in his debate are, and can how he can improve that. And he actually told me point blank, he's like, I debated Fabian Liberty, who's a friend of mine. And,
yeah, I like Fabian. He knows me too.
And also he debated Rob on the very same subject, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I guess you'll take a third loss then.
Yeah, I mean, Fabian and Rob those are two people I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of in a debate. Frankly. They're extremely good orators.
I like arguing with Fabian. I actually wish he'd come on tonight. He's probably busy, but I like arguing with Fabian. And Fabian, so it's interesting because I'll do that show with Prime that because that Rob can't do because he's working.
Yeah, on Mondays.
Sorry?
On Mondays, yeah.
Mondays.
Yeah, Monday nights. I'll do that debate, and we'll be, they'll have the panel debate, and then Scott and I will start. We won't really be debating, but we'll be like clarifying the points and just kind of like boiling it down. And I like that. I like that a lot. It's a cool dynamic.
Yeah, I really like.
Go ahead.
I really like Scott too. His Fabian's only real weakness is that his ideology is all based on utopian hypotheticals.
Right, the anarchy thing that ruins it.
He admits it. He says, obviously we can't do it, but
yeah. Well, then what the fuck good is it to argue for? But let's at least be pragmatic about our application of theory here.
Well, I tell you one thing that I really like about Scott is when we are debating on that panel debate. Now he's obviously a libertarian. I'm a conservative.
Well, he's an anarcho-capitalist. That's like super duper libertarian.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which is weird. That's weird stuff. But even though we're kind of pointed in the right directions, but we're not actually in
complete alignment,
so to speak. Even then, if somebody else, especially when the leftists starts mischaracterizing my argument or being obtuse, being purposefully obtuse and not addressing the point I'm actually making, Scott will call it out, which I think is amazing. Most people will not do that. And Scott will call them out on it and be like, no, you know better. He knew, what he's saying is X. And I do the same thing for Scott, although I don't really need to with Scott because Scott will talk for like half an hour.
He's good at it. He's got a lot of experience with it. He had his comeuppance with Prime Case's panels where he's the one person with a moderate or a right-leaning point of view, and everybody else is a complete fucking communist on the panel. And that's just the normal, tendency of people in Twitch poll. So I think a lot of times what ends up happening is in order to be somewhat adversarial, Scott will put himself into a position that he doesn't necessarily hold just because it's the adversarial position to the rest of the panel. And that ends up making it seem like he would align a lot more with somebody like you or me or Rob. But when you start breaking down some of those arguments and getting into the weeds with them, you realize, well, wait a minute now, you're advocating for something where there's no government at all and everything's run by private companies. So this shit's kind of weird to me, but.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. But you're right. We take similar positions, but not the same position.
Right.
I will always have problems with anarchism because of enforcement. They never tell you how enforcement is going to be done.
Well, it's a private company, right? But then who decides whether the private company is acting correctly or not?
Company.
Yeah.
Well, there's two companies, and this company doesn't like what that company did. How are we going to enforce what company is the correct one? Exactly. Oh, they both hire armies and fight it out? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it?
Sounds amazing.
That's the part of the whole problem with the whole non-aggression principle is that it relies on it being 100% opt-in. Like, as from an international relations perspective, as soon as one country decides to wipe their ass with the non-aggression principle, the whole thing falls apart.
You're not wrong.
Enforcement is a problem. I will always think that enforcement is a problem.
If 99 countries disarm their nukes and one decides to hold on and say, fuck the rest of you, like, what do we do at that point? Like, the whole system's dead.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so what do we think about? What do you guys think about
All kinds of stuff, man.
the? What do you guys think about the Doge Elon conspiracy theory?
Which one?
The one. All right, let me pick one. Hang on. There's a lot. If somebody's got a favorite, throw it out. That Elon has, because he has these contracts through SpaceX and Tesla and who the fuck ever. So he doesn't own Solar City anymore, I don't think. But because he has all of these government contracts, that he is now able to influence the government and to have even more contracts and force other competitors out of the market.
That's a slippery slope where you're making an argument for something that hasn't actually happened, and you're claiming that it will happen.
I'm asking, what do you think about people saying that?
Well, I think that they're using fallacious logic.
Okay.
I think he has. I think the fact that he has actual, he has influence. 'Cause he's right there in the Oval Office with the president. It's obvious, but at the same time, I don't think there's. I think their logic is fallacious because they're thinking that him having influence means that he's going to get more grants. So I agree with Anson.
Okay. Where are you at on this, Wally? You look confused.
Honestly, I don't think about a lot of the Doge shit I read. I just like seeing stuff getting cut and dismantled.
Hell yeah, I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Avoided Hornet. Where are you at on this?
There's not a lot for me to say on this one. It's just more.
Is it just me?
I can say that there's a conflict of interest, but that'd be like the strongest argument I can make against him at that point. But that'd be.
Is it just me, or does his mic like?
Yeah, he goes away a little bit, and then he gets like close, and you can hear really loud.
Are you talking about me?
Me, man.
Who are you talking about?
Avoided
Hornet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I was doing something real quick. The only argument that I would have for that would be the conflict of interest that he has during having those government contracts, but not really on the aspect of him getting more contracts. I mean, if you want to make the argument for the Verizon scandal that's happening right now, then that's a whole complicated mess.
What's the Verizon scandal? I'm not up on that one.
Verizon was supposed to be working on I believe satellite links for specifically, I forget what it was, for cell phone towers. That was contracted out to them. Elon now is using Starlink on those contracts instead because the issue that comes from that is that Verizon wasn't coming through with a lot of the stuff that they were needing to. So there is a general issue that you need to address there. I think him being in office kind of could have influenced it, but there's no
Well, that didn't work. I thought that would work. That did not work. Whoops. I fucked it up. All right, it's back. All right, let's try again.
Actually heard a little bit about this, and that is
I'm trying. Fucking camera.
Something about Verizon and FAA and Starlink. Is that what?
Yeah. That now these Verizon contracts are being switched over to Starlink for the intermediary moment. They don't know if that's the
for like an interim.
Yeah. So they just don't know. So that's why it's hard to make an argument that he's going to do that when they're just not.
What are they using the Starlink for? Because Starlink's interesting.
Starlink is just basically would be the routing for everything as well, the internet routing that they would need. So that's why Verizon had that contract at first. I think it's at this point they were contracted out 2 years ago, and they started work around a year ago.
Is this the airline? Is this the airline thing where the systems kept crashing and they booted AT&T out and they put Verizon in?
Yeah, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. So That's not
as
what
far as I can understand it. Like, this isn't even a situation where like Doge is essentially just a consulting department.
Yeah,
They're not making
Doge
prescriptions on like who ought to get a contract. They don't have any authority on who should be getting a contract to replace something that they're recommending be cut. And so if Musk isn't even an official in like a government official in the first place, I don't see what need there is that he would have to divest himself of like SpaceX or anything else.
Yeah, he's just an auditor.
Yeah, but he's an auditor.
He's not in any position where the department has authority where he ought to divest from his private businesses to avoid a conflict of interest.
Yeah, but the
Doge
thing is,
has that authority.
Right, hold on. So a couple of things. First, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think Musk actually stepped away from the running of all of his companies a couple of years ago because of the SEC and him, the SEC like. He didn't have a monopoly, but there was like we own SpaceX and they, and the battery technology and Tesla and the battery technology, and like they said you need to step away from the day-to-day running of it. I believe that was an SEC requirement for his businesses to continue to be placed on the stock market, or to be represented.
Yeah,
on the stock market.
He removed himself as CEO, I think, in
2017. So at this point, would it not be?
No, he instituted himself again later on. That's the issue. Like,
so what I'm hearing is
last and came back. That it was like a time period thing.
So what I'm hearing is that Doge really needs to audit the SEC.
Well, no, I mean it was a legit thing, and it was basically he could not. Well, actually, so he
let me back in.
He removed himself from the day-to-day running because he could either be a member of the board or he could be the CEO. He couldn't be a member of the board and the CEO at the same time.
Yeah, he's not a member of the board, but he is the CEO.
Yeah, so he gave up his board seat to go back and be a CEO to be the CEO. That's my understanding, and sounds like I was pretty accurate about that because I don't keep up with this stuff day to day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I would again, he stepped back, but then he is still the current CEO of Tesla, so it is in his best interest to have those contracts working out for him.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that he's no different than anybody else when it comes about talking shit about a competitor's product.
For sure. Yeah. But it's just like how much influence.
The president doesn't care and doesn't have anything to do with the FAA doing their thing. It's literally no different than the guy over at JP Morgan Chase, and I cannot think of his name. He's got a cool
Jamie
name.
Dimon.
Yes, thank you. See, I think he's got a cool name. Coming out against and saying that the CEO of Goldman Sachs sucks, and Goldman Sachs should not be the number one investment bank. It should be JP Morgan Chase, and fuck all y'all, JP rocks. It's kind of the same deal, right? And it doesn't matter that Goldman has.
Was he going to let me back in there or not?
The president.
Well, I would say that would influence things, right? Like you don't want the president making
no, that's not what I want.
Leaning towards certain competitors against you, right? Like
Why?
if you have the well, that's kind of the point of a fair market.
Well, that's
right?
the system we've had for 100 years. What's wrong with it? Democrats did it just fine. Republicans did it just fine.
It's
we don't have
there
a
we go.
fair market.
It's
Sorry
kind
about
of the system, but it's not really the system. Like I don't think we've ever seen like a multi-billionaire that close to the president.
No, we have.
At least
You've
that.
got to be kidding, man.
Yeah, Soros,
It's so full of shit,
Do
dude.
you know about some guy named Soros?
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's what I was saying. We have Soros, but Soros operated more in background.
No, Jeff
Soros-
Bezos literally entertained Biden.
And you got the Cook brothers on the other side of the fence. Sure, there's big money all over politics, dude. You're full of
I
shit.
mean, this is
there is big money, but
so
there's
crazy.
not.
a billionaire running a government, like an executive office, right? Like
yeah, it's happened before. Mellon did it.
that-
Mellon did it in the 1920s with
been-
under
they've been funded by them.
Hold on. I can only first of all, I can only hear one at a time. And when Hornet gets really excited or starts talking, his mic, like, I don't know whether he's hitting like a cut or like a noise gate, or if he's just getting if he gets too far away from his mic, but I can't hear him at all. So Hornet, could you I hate to ask you to do it, but could you start over so I can hear what you were saying?
Yeah, like again, we haven't seen someone in the executive office. We've seen people be like funded, which is a problem, right? Like I think that's why most people would say lobbyism is bad for certain reasons, for sure. But I don't think that moving a billionaire into an executive office would be the right move, right? Like I think most of us would frown upon that, especially since we've had such a big issue with people lobbying for such a large time.
Well, the thing is, it's already been said, but Doge is not actually making any of these cuts. They make recommendations, and the cuts either get made or the executive comes in and makes the cuts for the branch that refuses to cooperate.
It's not actually Elon cutting these, like
exactly,
right? Like I understand that. That's why I'm just like,
hold on. So the billionaire thing is kind of bothersome because that's absolutely not factual at all. JP Morgan Chase literally wrote the original John Chase.
Was part of making the Fed.
John Paul Morgan literally wrote the financial policy for the founding of this country. The way not the founding of the country, but the Fed banking system, because that's the way he wanted it. And he told was it Roosevelt, I think, that either you go along with it or I won't issue you any more bonds.
Well, dude, I think you are the greatest part of that.
Yeah, that's the lobbyist part that I was arguing earlier. Yes, I understand that lobbyism exists in the United States.
That's more than lobbyism, man. That's more than lobbyism.
And that's why I also mentioned the funding that Soros has done with multiple politicians getting into power, right? I think that has also been problematic. But the issue is I'm not going to call like what they're doing bad and not call the thing that's happening on the other side bad as well, right?
I don't know that it's bad.
I'm gonna call out my boy Thomas Massey. He proposed in the Fed. Let's end the Fed. But,
yep, that's it, man.
I like ending the Fed. What do you guys say about this? Both Trump and Elon are donating their salaries to charity. My understanding is that Elon donated some ridiculous amount of money in the form of shares of Tesla at its low point, right? So when Tesla dipped, he actually donated a bunch of shares, which means that he didn't get, he can't be accused of taking a massive write-off or any of that nonsense. And that the organization that has those shares is going to make probably make $1 million just off of holding the shares. So what do you guys think about that?
That's awesome.
If the shares go up, I don't think.
What do you mean if the shares? Of course, the shares are going to go up. What the fuck are you talking about?
For sure. I'm just saying the market is unpredictable.
It ebbs and flows, but it is predictable that over time shares will go up.
Great that he did it that way instead of just taking out money which can be misappropriated or any of those things. He gave them shares that are locked into an account.
I would say that's the best way to do it, right? Like, it shows that he's willing.
Those shares will increase in value. Honestly, dude, I got to be honest, man. That's a stone cold killer move, man.
It is. That's awesome.
I think. I mean, I when I thought about it, I was like, "Fuck! I wish I thought about that." Like that's a great way to do it. To do a charitable donation.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're donating their salaries is great, but at the end of the day, what makes them billionaires is a lot more than what they take from their company in terms of a salary. It's mostly tied up in assets and ownership over assets that belong to the company.
Let's keep in mind that
the
reality is while Elon is valued at whatever 55 or 60 billion dollars today or more, maybe 100 billion, I don't know. Even though he's valued at that, he only has about 400 million liquid. Right? Like
But that's a shit ton of money. That's an astronomical amount of money, but it's a lot less
money, but
than his total value. Yeah.
It's only 400.
I mean, that is suitcase money, right?
I reckon.
That's suitcase money.
Yeah.
But
Will it fit in a suitcase?
no, I mean, you take it into somewhere. Yes, it's a joke that somebody fucked with me on the other day. Is that they literally were like, I don't have, because I was like, why don't you just buy it? And they're like, I don't have suitcase money. And I'm like, you're making fun of me, aren't you, you fucker?
Your head.
Somebody's got to give you some shit.
Money.
It does. That and those very fine builds you have on the wall behind you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, these are the reason those are on the wall. No, I mean, is not just because I want to rep out or anything. There's just no more room where they normally go. So I either have to purchase more accommodations or I have to delete some supply.
Mm. But no, that second option is not even an option, dude. The gun collection only gets bigger. It doesn't get smaller.
Because it's always worth more than I have in it.
Exactly.
It's invest in precious metals, ladies and gentlemen.
Steel and lead.
Are you a shooter?
I not really, but I do own a gun. It's just I don't really do the gun thing anymore. I used to back in the day.
Okay. You should get into competitive shooting if you're a computer guy. It's very technical, and computer guys tend to like that. And it gets you outside in the sunlight, and it's really active. You get to practice your dance moves. Awesome.
Put that on TikTok.
It's just I just don't really I just don't have the time for a lot of shit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody says that until they drop over from high blood pressure at the age of 45.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm probably headed there.
Also, don't be pasty, man. Don't be pasty.
Then I have to get sun.
I think EOD needs to get some sunlight.
Yeah, I could probably use some. That's fair. I'm pretty pale these days. But if people ask me what my race is, I say I'm as white as a sheet of paper. So doesn't get much more white than that, does it? It's a German and British heritage. So
you're so white you burn under the heat lamps at McDonald's.
That's right, I do. I get workman comp for that.
Hornet didn't laugh at that. He doesn't find my jokes funny.
Oh, I laughed. What the fuck?
Oh, I couldn't hear you.
It must not catch it sometimes. That's the problem.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. So cool. Hornet, I post in your Discord occasionally, and I've done some voice chats in there. But your Discord was like really, really busy, and then it really, really wasn't. Was there some drama there that I missed?
No, it's just it's like an ebb and flow kind of situation.
Sure.
Some days it's super busy, some days it's not. It's just how much available time the people have to jump on there. So, but if you want to go in there and argue, that's a good place to go. Like most people will have dissenting opinions.
I love arguing. I'll even argue. So I believe that if you can't argue both positions, you automatically lose. So a lot of times I'll argue positions I don't actually believe in just for the fuck of it.
Well, I think that's what makes the stronger argument of like once you know what the other side is thinking, you can enforce your argument or turn your argument against itself and be like, okay, maybe I'm not correct here.
I've always found that leftists seem to have the hardest time doing that, whereas people who are capable of arguing objectively tend to argue from the right. That's my experience.
I haven't noticed that one way or the other. I will tell you that that's actually what cemented Rob Knorr as one of the best debaters in my mind.
Sure. I've seen Andrew Wilson do it too.
Huh?
I've seen Andrew Wilson do it too, argue for the wrong side.
Yeah. So Andrew Wilson told me that Rob, as far as he was concerned, Rob Knorr was the best debater.
Yeah.
And he thought, and it was a shame that Rob's not bigger and his audience hasn't grown as much. And that a lot of it's just due to Rob's job, and he can't devote the time. And he's people make fun of his appearance and the way he talks about his life and things like that. I found all those things to be true. But the thing that cemented him as the absolute, to me, the best debater on the internet is when he knowingly took a losing position to Jim Bob, and he almost destroyed Jim Bob with with a massively weaker position.
That
was the
debate
topic?
was the voting right for women, I think. It was a good debate, but Jim Bob got in with a very technical definition, and he got destroyed.
Yeah, so Rob knew going in that it's not a position that he would normally take, and he was doing it to help Jim Bob refine the argument, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
That's what you should be doing. If all you ever do is talk to people that you know, and just
well, that's how an echo chamber is formed, right?
Yeah, if all you ever do is talk in an echo chamber, and you consistently choose to beat up people who you already know their position and you know the arguments they're going to make, then you're not really much of a debater. And when you go and get into a real debate, you're going to get just destroyed. And so I find that Rob's ability to take the side he didn't believe in, he knew he was going to lose. He knew that he knew the argument that Jim Bob was going to make was stronger, but he nearly fucked Jim Bob up on it. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I think Rob Noah is like really good at like information, particularly, right? Like I think he could, like when he's challenging an idea, he's very well researched in the idea. I think the reason that he hasn't really had a lot of growth is probably because people typically don't like that level of debating, where it's just like a lot of technical information going down specific routes, where like let's say like someone like Andrew is a lot more entertaining to watch because he has more of an attitude when he's debating these subjects, right? Like he'll give you what you give him.
I think so. Personal viewpoint, I like Andrew's style of debate because it mixes both precision and being calm and presenting your point in a very an approachable, understandable way, and then he's able to very quickly go into rhetoric that just destroys you, depending on which position you're taking. I had an impromptu debate with Andrew on should paternity tests be mandatory. Yeah. And the only reason that that the audience felt that he won the debate is because I did concede that if your concern is that your spouse has cheated on you or has the ability to cheat on you, and you do not trust women, then it makes sense that you would want to do that you would want it to be mandatory. If that's the position that you were going to take, that's how that works. Give me 1 second, guys. My wife's calling.
Yeah. So let me talk about the what y'all were talking about Rob Noah for a second, because the reason why he's not blown up is because he's boring, right? He's not entertaining. And you were hitting on it for a second there, Hornet. He's not funny. He doesn't have emotional intelligence. That's why people like Andrew are so good. Andrew's one of the most emotionally intelligent people I've known on the internet.
You've never seen Rob turn his hat backwards and imitate a leftist or do the Brianna Wu voice, apparently. I mean, some of that shit's hilarious.
That's like,
he's pretty funny.
That's few and far between like Andrew, that like he always has that level of like he always keeps it at a certain level with whoever he's talking to.
I've seen Andrew do some
in the house. Good to see all you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for the $1.99, John Mosman. I appreciate it.
I've seen Andrew do some incredibly boring fucking debates with people. Like Grid was saying, he tends to match the energy that he's given. So if the other person is reasonable and well guarded and everything, then it doesn't really get out of hand. Unless you say something completely fucking retarded, Andrew's gonna blow your shit up for it. But
and that's the entertaining part because he's got that emotional intelligence to be able to do that, right? He doesn't become unhinged or angry, but if he does, then it's funny, right?
Yeah.
But I would also say that Andrew kind of knows where to poke in certain directions, right? Like
For sure.
to get someone to get an emotional response.
Andrew also, if his opponent is acting in good faith or at least tries and shows any willingness for a good back and forth, then he becomes an educator almost, right? He takes a very
But like, let's be honest, there's a lot of debates where he's just like more in the zone, or like he's really good at rhetoric. He's really good at throwing out the information, lock you into.
I do the same thing. I'll have debates where I would appear completely unhinged, and then I have other debates where it's completely surgical, and I just take you apart piece by piece.
Yeah.
It's all about what's required, right? Like when Wally and I were on VK one night, and I debated Teriak, I think, and Teriak did his usual unhinged, just repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And I repeated this, and I got to put him to the question, and he wouldn't answer it. He would not answer it. He couldn't answer the question without admitting he was wrong, and so he just kept re-asking me the question, and I pinned him on it. And it ended up looking like two dudes shouting at each other. I took the decision on that one, which was, I think, well earned. And then I got Corinth on the exact same topic in a completely different way. Corinth's being all mellow and shit, but I was able to used a completely different argument on the exact same prompt, and got him as well. So. It's just you have to understand. It helps understand the opponent, right? Like this guy Tyler that I'm going to debate Wednesday. He seems super laid back in his conversation. He's
got a good sense of humor. I've seen him in a few chats.
Yeah, he's got a good sense of humor, and he'll say bombastic things like his intelligence dwarfs all of his opponents in this endeavor. I mean, it's just he can be very, very larger than life and a little bit bombastic, which is great. But I think that
hey, Melissa,
be an entirely good debate. I think it's going to be.
Put it over here.
It's going to be. I don't think there will be a winner per se. So.
I think those are some of the best debates when you walk out and you're just like, I don't know who fucking won that one. Like, I think that's
because I won't need to go because he won't do any of the things that give me openings. Like he won't lie and he won't misrepresent information. So I won't be able to get that high energy. You're a liar, and that kind of thing. I won't be able to do that because he's not going to do it. And I'm not going to give him, much space to present his argument as being just super reasonable and all of that. I'm gonna make his argument sound as unhinged as possible. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
That's the only way you can get folks like him. It's too well composed.
Pro-Ukraine arguments become unhinged, Grid, to be fair.
Well, it's not a pro-Ukraine argument. It's
intervention arguments become unhinged, to be fair.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. It's the interventional. So I don't know. He was very smart. He was very smart because he is taking an interventionalist or intervention. Like I cannot talk now.
Interventionist.
Interventionalist.
No, it's not.
Either way, whatever. You guys know what I mean. He's taking that rather than a globalist argument, right? So globalist is different. I got a lot more room to move. But by doing that, he puts me, it doesn't force me, but he puts me in the position of being a non-interventionist. and
defending the opposite.
Well, it narrows the scope for sure. Like
it narrows the scope, which I like.
Oh my god!
But it also has very specific implications.
That is the biggest camel toe I've ever seen in my life.
That thing was about to kill you, man.
I'm gonna get suffocated. No. Oh shit.
I would say that you die with a smile, but we would never know.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. You know, my argument is the United States probably shouldn't be involved unless the United States people stand to benefit from the fucking intervention. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what Rob was telling you earlier tonight.
Yeah. No, it's and Rob has debated this exact guy.
Yeah.
And you know that so Tyler is Tyler has there's a method to the madness of him debating me on this. First, he gets to further refine his argument. Second, he sees it as a path to get to debate Andrew, and he really wants to debate Andrew.
Oh,
hey, Anson, I think that young lady's Band-Aid is loose. You should check it.
Yeah, I'll help her replace it.
But yeah, so I think his ultimate goal is. I'm sorry.
I have to get going. Thanks for having me on, though.
Hey, man, anytime.
I'll definitely be seeing you around.
Yeah, swing by anytime and listen to the right-ish dribble that we blow every night.
Later, Hornet.
See you, Hornet. We'll avoid you.
Good talking to you, man.
Cheers.
Good talking to you. I gotta go too, Reed, and everybody.
Yeah.
So have a good one.
Yeah.
You're a computer guy too, right?
Later,
I am at the time. Well, I studied.
Oh, dude, it is actually it's actually closing time. I was having so much fun. I didn't even realize it was closing.
Yeah. I'll be seeing you guys later. Bye bye.
All right, see you, man.
One other thing I've been thinking about the topic for that debate is I think there might be a potential way to take it, testing him as far as like how far does he want to actually take interventionalism? Like you look at the current landscape now, I think if we did not have Trump in office right now, because Trump is very anti-NATO, I think if we had a different Republican in office right now, or certainly if we had a leftist in office right now, we'd be looking at a Pacific equivalent of NATO because of the Taiwan situation, because of China. I think you would have eventually seen us, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, potential like Australia, New
definitely
Zealand.
Australia.
You would see some kind of like defensive alliance formed in the Pacific front because of that eventually.
Yeah, probably so. I would not deny that. I think that I think it's a very interesting time because non-interventionist is kind of new. I mean, it's not something that most people are like you would have talked about 10 years ago, right? Especially not as openly as we do now.
Well, now, I mean, I'd say back in 2001, it's probably a lot more taboo than 10 years ago. But.
You think? Yeah. Okay.
Because of the 2 towers that just fall and everybody was all gung ho. You couldn't criticize the military to save your life. You'd be excoriated for that. So
yeah, that's right.
Why are you anti-American? We need to go to the sandbox, kill a bunch of Hajis to get to oil.
And that's actually my biggest problem with interventionalism.
Fair.
Biggest problem is that we always have to have some boogeyman we hate.
Yeah.
If it's not China, it's Russia. I've been to China. They don't want to kill us, guys. They don't care. They don't even care about our market. Our market is like 1% or 2% of their entire economy. They have a 5 billion person captive economy. And why do they don't even care. Like we don't even get their high level brands. Like we only get the cheap shit.
Is Anson designing his future ex-wife?
Apparently.
I think that might be his last ex-wife.
Last or next, one of the two.
I mean, kind of the same thing.
Mm.
But yeah, could technically make some argument for oil being an American interest. Not anymore.
Mm.
What are we getting from OPEC these days? It's like 10% or under 10% from OPEC.
Yeah, we make most of our own shit. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we're not even in the top. I don't even think we're in the top 10 with OPEC anymore. That's why they don't give a shit anymore.
There was, and it's funny because there was so much bullshit that got spit out of people's mouths back when I was in college and we were going through the Iraq shit. Yeah. And it's like, for all the conspiracy nonsense that liberals had at the time, and all the legitimate bullshit with being in Iraq, don't get me wrong, but for all the stuff they just made up, we never got a fucking solitary drop of oil out of Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because we don't know how to do empire correctly. If we were doing the right thing, we would have gone there, replaced all their citizens with ours.
That goes back to my argument.
The narrative is that we were spilling blood for oil, don't you know?
Yeah. That goes back to my argument. That goes back to my argument that if we're going to wage war, we should do it correctly and keep what we kill, but we don't. So that's one of the reasons why North Korea and South Korea are so fucked up, because what we should have done is kept all of Korea, not allow them to divvy it up, not decide,
not
parallel.
Right. That was the problem. Is we drew a line in the sand and we said we will go this far and no further. That was the problem in Korea and in Vietnam.
Think about it at that point. When you think about it at that point, there is a bit of a reduction to interventionalism, because looking at it that way, what could you ultimately say interventionalism is? It's half measure imperialism.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually shocked that our monarchist didn't mention that. But I think you're right.
I'm just frustrated y'all keep mispronouncing it.
What?
It's interventionism. There's no L in it.
I switched just to see if I'd piss Anson off that time.
Well, that's why he put the picture of the cake eater up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bed. Unless there's a massive amount of money coming in that I don't know about and that I should stay up for. I'm going to bed. It's been a great night. Tomorrow night we'll be back. Trash talk mayhem. We're gonna talk some trash.
Mm.
We're mostly gonna talk trash about Anson's choice of whatever the fuck those are.
I disagree. I think that's a real breath of fresh ass. I mean, fresh air.
Very funny. I think he has a fart.
That better than the last picture, but it's odd. You can't see the face, though. Remember, you're buying the whole thing.
I think if there were some alterations, that pic would really crack us up.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to send you over to watch Andrew Wilson invade whatever the fuck he invades tonight. TikTok.
Cheers to that.
X or wherever the fuck. And you guys, as always, be cool. Wear glasses if you need them. Get the fuck off my lawn.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, man. Good times,
right.
man.
I'm out. See you.
Later.
See ya.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, man. I don't even think I'm going over to Verbal Combat tonight. So, you guys have fun.
Yeah, you do.
Thank Rob for the raid for me.
Yeah, sure they will. He'll do it again because now he knows how. So.
Right. Perfect. Awesome.
Here, man. Take it easy.
Cool, man. See you.
Good times. Yeah, there's 3,000 people in this chat. That's nuts. Always wondered what the hell the point was in trying to participate in a chat like that. There's just so many freaking people. There's no way anybody's message is actually getting through to anybody else. But...
Concerning and sick behavior. Hold up, I've got more though. So yeah, it was honestly just concerning behavior. He would send me nude photographs.
Oh dear
photos
Lord.
Of his genitals.
Oh dear Lord. What the hell is
See
this?
that stuff. And
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
But I don't want TikTok to take this video.
Ah.
If you guys want to see a part 2, if this gets like some interaction, I'll post like the.
All right. Well. I don't know. There's a few things on Twitter that I wanted to talk about for a little bit, but you know, have you guys seen this shit? Like this is, this is an angle of the shot of JFK getting shot that I've never seen before, and it almost looks like the woman actually, his wife holds a gun up to his head and blows his freaking face off. I swear that's freaking crazy, man. Crazy. The CIA had Mrs. Kennedy do it. I can't remember her freaking name. But who knows? It's one of those things that'll probably never get solved, honestly. You know? We're never going to know who actually killed JFK. It's going to be a mystery for as long as we live. But what a bombshell to sort of end it on, but I guess that's what we're going to do. Man. Anyway. Yeah, I'll try to do more of these, man. I wanted to try and reach out and be a little bit more involved with other streams and stuff. I'll try to do some more of that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Good times. Cheers, Rob. Cheers to Grid One. And yeah, you guys have a nice night. And be here tomorrow for D&D. We do D&D at 10 p.m. now, I think. Don't quote me on that. It might be a little later than 10 p.m. But yeah, be here for D&D.